Hey everyone, this is First Warn Storm Team Chief Meteorologist Brad Panovich. Quick update on the storm system developing here across the southeast and the mid-Atlantic. Pretty potent storm system. This is really one of the better storms we've seen this winter. And it's come from kind of a unique area. Typically we don't see clipper systems kind of crank up on the coast like this, but you can see we've got a pretty good shield of snow which stretches from almost south of Boston all the way back down into northern Alabama. You see this area kind of shaded right now in this kind of bluish circle. That's what we call mesoscale discussion. Basically what's going on there is we've got snowfall rates developing of 1 to 2, as much as 3 inches per hour in something we call deformation zone. And what that is just a fancy name for a big heavy band of snow that forms on the northwest side of the low pressure center, which is beginning to develop. So I'm going to throw the pressures on here real quickly. Actually, I had the cape on there briefly because I was looking at a little bit of potential for some thunder snow. But here's the basic look at the surface pressures, and you see this big circle area over southeastern Virginia and eastern North Carolina down to Raleigh. That's the surface low beginning to develop. I'll kind of grab my cursor here, and there's an area of low pressure forming right in here, and as that surface low forms, you get a band of very heavy snow developing right there along the northwest track of the low. So I do expect the snow to pick up in intensity here as we go through the evening hours. And if you're wondering what's going to happen down in North Carolina, the main vorticity, or what we call the short wave, is still back here in Tennessee. So I'm going to turn this off briefly, and we'll turn on the cape here. I'll turn that off for a second, but what I want to show you is the vorticity. This is 500 millibar vorticity. This is where we look for short waves. And you see the main bowling ball of vorticity is still back here into eastern central Tennessee and into western Kentucky. Now what we're going to see is this is going to kind of dive and wrap into this low. So wherever this vorticity goes, I expect the snow to actually pick up in intensity back here, even though we're going to start to see some pretty good snows up in this area. So two main areas of snow that I'm going to watch as we go through the afternoon and evening. I still don't think this is going to be a big event for North Carolina, especially the Piedmont, but if you get into eastern North Carolina where the low cranks up, that might be a slight potential there for a quick burst of snow. And because we actually may see some thunder snow in spots and convective snow, and what I mean by that is we're going to see very warm air at the surface, and we're talking relative to the Arctic air that's going to be moving in aloft, that we're going to end up seeing some convective type nature snow showers, which means we could get a quick burst of snow on the backside of the system. So let's first go to the HRR model, or this is the short range high resolution model, and I'm going to show you how things develop. We'll go out into the future, and this again is simulated radar. You can see in our area we've got some showers ahead of the main front, but watch on the back side of this, we start to see some snow develop, and you see this big cluster of precipitation in the eastern part of North Carolina. Now it's east of I-77, and while this may not look huge and it's short-lived, this is going to be a huge amount of snow in a short period of time. So sleet, snow, graupel, maybe some rain mixing in there as the system moves east. So let's go back and go through that again. And you can see as the low cranks up on the coast, look at that band forming basically just east of Greensboro to the Raleigh-Durham area, and maybe all the way down to Fayetteville. So a quick burst of snow. And even on the back side, as the low pulls away, notice this little narrow band of snow that the HRR model tries to develop. Let's look at another model that's been doing relatively well with this system, which is the high-resolution NAM, or the 4-kilometer version. And this is a little wider view, but you can see how the low cranks up and then moves off to the coast. We'll see a band of snow in eastern North Carolina. Now, it looks like it does it a little too quickly, in my opinion, but we're definitely going to see the potential there for a quick burst of snow. Let's go back on the HRR model real quickly. And again, what you're looking at is a pay site that I use. This is called Weatherbell. Phenomenal site. So if you ever want to pay for model data, I think this is the premier site out there. You can see the snowfall forecast. And again, a lot of this is melting on contact. If you look along that band, we lost a little bit of data there, just east of our area, right in there, you can see there's a potential for maybe 2 or 3 inches of snow. Now this is going to mainly be on grassy surfaces because we're going to see some really warm ground. The ground temperatures right now are running in the low to mid 40s east of the mountains, so it's going to take a while for this to stick. My real concern is a lot of this melts on contact. Any rain that falls pretty much gets everything wet, and then tonight, as those temperatures nosedive into the teens by Wednesday morning, we see a flash freeze. So that's the latest. It's not a big system for our area, more so for the Virginias, up into Maryland and the Northeast, but So far this winter, this is probably the biggest threat of snow we've seen east of the mountain. So stay tuned. These things tend to have a kind of throw a monkey wrench or a wild card at you every once in a while, especially when you get convective nature snow showers. So even though the radar doesn't look impressive and you're thinking the snow's to the north, don't be surprised if we get basically what would account to a thunder shower in the spring or summer that dumps a quick isolated area of snow. It won't hit everybody, but somebody could get a quick burst as we go through the evening. Quick look at the temperatures. We're in the upper 40s now. The Arctic front's back here. Look at the temperatures back here in Tennessee. So the cold air is coming. That's the one thing that's an absolute. Get ready for the deep freeze. Of course, I'll have complete coverage starting today at 4, 5, and 6 on NBC Charlotte. And if you're not following me on Facebook, Twitter, and Google+, what are you doing? Because that's where I post the majority of my stuff. And remember, if you're on Facebook and you don't see it in my newsfeed, go to my page. You're only getting about 10 to maybe 15% of my posts because of the newsfeed algorithm on Facebook. They kind of mess with you. Twitter's usually the best place to keep up with me, and always my Rebel Mouse page, which has all my social updates anytime. Of course, try to connect with me. It's the best way to keep up on this thing. And of course, we'll have updates online, on air, and of course on TV coming up today at 4. See you then.